Welcome back to the lab. Today, we're tracing a really interesting path together. We're going to start with the immediate software tweaks hitting our devices literally right now, and then look ahead to the massive Apple announcements looming just on the horizon. Let's break down exactly what you need to know about iOS 26.5 RC2. So, right off the bat, let's address the big question, right? Is RC2 the final step before the public release? Well, for those of you tracking this stuff closely, you probably noticed this update came in at exactly 494.9 megabytes on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And the answer is a resounding yes. Release Candidate 2 is almost certainly the definitive final version that's going to hit the masses very, very soon. It's basically that final coat of polish before prime time. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the basics and build. Second, crucial iOS bug fixes. Third, essential iPad improvements. Fourth, performance and benchmarks. And finally, the road to WWDC. All right, starting off with Section 1, the basics and builds. Let's take a look at the actual identity of this new patch. The magic number for this release is 23F77. Now, when we shift from an RC1 to an RC2 at this extraordinarily late stage in the software development cycle, we're really not expecting sweeping design overhauls. This is what you'd call a surgical patch. It's all about getting under the hood, tightening up the bolts, ensuring stability, and just squashing those last few lingering bugs. However, one notable visual tweak actually did manage to sneak in. If you open the Games app for the first time after applying this update, you're greeted with a brand new, really beautifully clean splash screen. It explicitly highlights your recently downloaded games, along with your latest achievement and score updates. It's a tiny touch, sure, but it keeps the interface feeling fresh and informative right from the jump. Moving right along to Section 2, crucial iOS bug fixes. This is where the real relief comes in for anyone who is feeling kind of frustrated by the quirks in RC1. We've got a fantastic list of problem-solving fixes here. First up, that beautiful new Pride Luminance wallpaper. Previously, the custom color picker, which impressively lets you choose up to 12 different colors to customize your screen, was infuriatingly just disappearing on people. Well, that has finally been restored. Apple also fixed the watch face gallery sync, meaning your customized Luminance faces will actually show up correctly now. So, the crucial takeaway here, visual customization is back to being entirely seamless. Beyond the aesthetics, they also resolved a super frustrating glitch where non-English keyboards were failing during password prompts. And, they fixed an issue where standard compliance certificates were inexplicably throwing errors. Good stuff. Next up, Section 3, Essential iPad Improvements. Now, Apple didn't just focus their resources on the iPhone with this patch. They threw a massive, much-needed lifeline to iPad users as well. Just look at the severity of this bug. Complete loss of iPad cellular connectivity. Yeah. After updating to the previous iOS 26.4, some users experienced a devastating issue where their iPads completely dropped their cellular connections. If you're someone who relies on your iPad for working on the go, traveling, or commuting, this was a total nightmare. RC2 acts as the absolute hero here, completely restoring those vital network connections. And the good news for iPad users continues right into the web browser. Previously, tapping an extension in Safari would often just crash the entire app. It was completely broken. But now, those extensions are working flawlessly and at lightning speed. Tapping an extension like 1Password opens your password vault instantly, keeping your workflow totally uninterrupted. Let's pivot to Section 4, Performance and Benchmarks. Now, this is where the narrative gets a little mysterious in the lab. Take a look at the side-by-side contrast. On the user experience side, everything feels incredibly fluid. Unlocking the phone, swiping through your widget pages, typing on the keyboard, it's buttery smooth. Even a solid 20-minute stress test of Apple CarPlay showed fast, seamless navigation and music playback. But when we contrast that with the hard data, we're seeing unusually low benchmark scores. What's going on there? Now, what's really interesting about this is the specific gap between expectation and reality here. For single-core processing, we'd normally expect a score of around 4,000, but RC2 is pulling 3,676. Multi-core should comfortably sit around 10,000, but we're seeing 9,580. So why the noticeable drop when the phone physically feels so fast? Well, it's highly likely that the processor is just temporarily bogged down by background indexing. Right after a fresh software install, your phone is doing a tremendous amount of file organization and heavy lifting behind the scenes. Give it a few days, and these numbers should bounce right back up to normal. On the device storage front, things are wonderfully predictable. The iOS storage size holds steady at 14.24 gigabytes, which is exactly identical to Beta 4. This means the update is highly optimized, so it isn't going to suddenly eat up any unexpected, precious space on your device. And finally, Section 5, the road to WWDC. It is time to zoom out from today's technical fixes and look at the highly anticipated future of the Apple ecosystem. Let's see how this builds our excitement for the summer, shall we? Next week, we expect the official iOS 26.5 public release. The following week, we'll very likely see iOS 26.6 Beta 1 begin its cycle. But the massive, landscape-shifting milestone is right here, June 8th. That's the kickoff for WWDC 2026, where we're going to get our very first look at iOS 27 and likely the immediate release of Beta 1. This entire summer of testing will then culminate in September with the grand public launch, perfectly timed, right alongside the highly anticipated iPhone 18. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. With everything we've just uncovered, the crucial bug fixes for your custom wallpapers, the restored iPad connectivity, and that buttery smooth everyday performance, will you risk installing the release candidate today to get these fixes immediately? Or, knowing the final polish is practically done, will you play it safe and wait for the official public release next week?